What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jerome. I'm back today with the review for Greenleaf. This is season 3. This is episode number 7, and it is titled That Was Then. So without further ado, let's get the video started. Alright, so we start this episode out. It starts out with Grace. Grace is in her room. She's on her computer, and she's looking at the photos of Coralie, the murder scene and all that kind of stuff, or self-defense scene, whichever one you want to call it. And when she's looking at these photos, and there was this one particular photo that stood out to Grace, and it was a glass bottle. And Grace is reminiscent of the whole altercation that she had with Mac last season when she killed Mac and all that kind of stuff. And then Sophia comes in there and tries to get Grace's attention, but Grace is still stuck in thinking about what happened with Mac and all that kind of stuff. And Sophia asks her, "Is that the case that you're working on?" and all that kind of stuff. And then, Grace wants to talk to her, but then Sophia goes to leave. But then, she stops and, Grace wants to talk to her. So basically, she wants to know what she wants to talk about. And Sophia wants Grace to talk to the person that's over the Little Saints thing at the church, because Sophia is still on this whole thing of she's not sure if she wants to go back to church and all that kind of stuff. And she's not even sure if she believes in God. And how the person who's over the Little Saints will not take no for an answer. And basically, Sophia said that, she's not going to be able to talk to the kids about God the way she did before, because she doesn't believe in him at this point and all that kind of stuff. And, I really do feel bad for Sophia, because I kind of know what Sophia is going through right now. I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to question the things that God has done. And I'm not, basically, the thing that I'm questioning is he took the two most important women in my life away from me, and my life is stuck in limbo right now, and I'm just questioning, why would you take them at a time when I really needed them? And now I'm stuck kind of by myself, and I'm just having the roughest time in my life right now. So I definitely understand where Sophia's coming from with, I still believe in God, but I just kind of question the things that has happened in my life up until this point. All right, and then we got Bishop. He goes in to check on Charity, and Charity has not left this room. I'm like, God damn, Charity, like, you sitting up here being a lush and all that kind of stuff. So Bishop is telling Charity that Carissa and Jacob are on their way over for Zora's birthday and all that kind of stuff. And he's talking about Zora, and she's like, when is she gonna learn? And I'm like, Charity, when the hell are you gonna learn too? And Bishop said exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, when are you gonna learn? And then she gets in her feelings about, when are you moving out? He was like, well, right now, all my money is tied up in the IRS, so I can't really go anywhere right now because I have no money and I have no place to go. And, Bishop is basically telling Charity how he misses her and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Charity actually really kind of gets on my nerves just a little bit. Like, I get it sometimes, but she do play this victim, and it's like a pity party for Charity, and it's like, woe is me and all that kind of shit when it comes to Charity. So sometimes I feel bad for Charity, and then other times I just do not feel bad for Charity whatsoever. All right, and then we got Lady May. She is She's having a meeting with Corinne and with Maxine's assistant. I don't know what Maxine's assistant's name is. And basically what it is they're trying to set up the day with Lady May and all that kind of stuff. So the one place that they want to go to, I think it costs too much money to go there. And Lady May is like, okay, well, let's do it here at the church and all that kind of stuff. And then Corinne says, well, Bishop is also having something here that same day that you have in the day with Lady May. And, Corinne says, well, you know what? I'll talk to Bishop. And Lady May is like, no, I'll talk to Bishop and all that kind of stuff. So, she excuses Corinne and Maxine's assistant, and in walks Grace. And, she's telling Grace about how she's having this meeting with the Boys and Girls Club of Mississippi. I think that's what it is. Mississippi. I think they're in Mississippi. And how she wants Grace to be there with her when she has the meeting. And Grace is like, I can't be there today because I'm actually going to the jail to meet with that my client Coralie and all that kind of stuff. And Lady May is starting to get in her feelings about this. She's like, you are going to the church as opposed to doing this. Going to the jail as opposed to doing this stuff with the church. You taking up for a murder and all that kind of stuff. And, Grace is like, it's a lot more than her, just, her being a murder. They're talking about doing a death penalty and all that kind of stuff. And this is a person's life and all that kind of stuff. And, then May wants to question Grace about working with Wretched Rochelle and all that kind of stuff. And Grace is basically like, she has her reasons for working with Wretched Rochelle. I'm like, okay. That woman is using all of y'all, but nobody sees it. But when it finally comes out, everybody's gonna be like, "So you played us this whole time?" And I'm just gonna be like, "Yep, she was playing the shit out of y'all so badly." All right, and then we have Bishop. Bishop is in his office and he's calling his friend Percy. And while he's on the phone with Percy, he didn't really get to talk to him because Lady May walked in. And when Lady May walked in, he told him, "You know what? I have to hang up and I'll have to call you back later." And Lady May was like, "Oh, was that old Richard Rochelle on the phone?" And he was like, "That was not Richard Rochelle. That was Percy." And he sends his love to you. So basically, the reason why Lady May is in his office with Bishop right now is because she is still in her feelings about Grace with this Cora Lee thing. And, like I said, she's upset about that. And, Bishop is telling Lady May that, the lawyers have come up with a way for them to get out of this tax, stuff and all that, out of this debt, get it paid and all that kind of stuff. And then he mentions the cryptocurrency to her. And Lady May looks and like, "Oh, this is Richard Rochelle's doing and all that kind of stuff." And Bishop saying that, she's trying to help him out and all that kind of stuff. But Lady May is the only person that can see what Richard Rochelle is doing. That she's literally just playing him and all that kind of stuff. So then Bishop tells Lady May that, he's used some of his money from his own account. And now what he needs is to take the money out of their joint account and out of their shared account with each other. And Lady May is like, "Absolutely not. You are not taking my money to give it to that home-wrecking hussy." So, no. And I really do feel bad for Bishop because Bishop does not see that Richard ass Rochelle is just playing him like a fiddle. Like, I really feel bad for Bishop just because he does not see that woman is using him. All right. And then we have Grace. She's over there at the prison. And when she goes to check in and all that kind of stuff, she goes so she can meet Cora Lee. And then she runs into, I believe that was the DA, and he was talking about how the DA's office didn't press charges against Grace for manslaughter for the death of Mac and all that kind of stuff. And then, she's talking about how she's there to help Cora Lee and all that kind of stuff. And, the DA is talking about Cora Lee is not innocent by no means and all that kind of stuff. And then, he was talking about the murder weapon and all that kind of stuff. And Grace was like, the same murder weapon that he used on her. And, the DA was like, "There's no factual proof of anything like that. And there's no evidence." And I'm like, this is almost similar to what's going on in the world at this current time. Like with the Christine Ford thing, with Brett Kavanaugh, how your dumbass president is talking about, oh my God, that interview, that thing he did the other day was so stupid, where he talking about everybody needs to apologize to Brett Kavanaugh because he was proven innocent. He was not proven innocent. But moving on from that just brought up something that, looking at that scene, made me think about that. How it's so easy now for people to want to blame the woman for, either domestic violence, sexual assault, all that kind of stuff. It's so easy for people to want to blame the women, and the man is not at fault. Like, I don't agree with that at all, because if a woman says she was abused and if a woman says she was sexually assaulted, I always believe the woman until, there is factual proof that says it did not happen. But until I see proof that it didn't happen, I always believe what the woman says, because I cannot sit here and imagine that a woman is going to sit here and lie about being abused and being raped or sexually assaulted, which I know that some women do that, but not all women do that shit. And I just do not like when I see people try to make the woman try to make the man the victim and the woman, the aggressor and all that kind of stuff. Like, I hate that shit. So Grace is also in the prison. She's still having flashbacks about Mac and all that kind of stuff. And now she's sitting down talking to Cora Lee, and she's telling her how she's there to help her and all that kind of stuff. And that, then Cora Lee tells her what, her husband did, how he had her pinned down and all that kind of stuff. And, that if it wasn't for him being so drunk and all that kind of stuff, that she would be dead instead. And she also says that, she doesn't regret it, but she does not remember, even doing it and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, she said she's glad that it happened. And, she's talking about the kids and all that kind of stuff. And Grace said, "Well, did he abuse the kids?" And she said, "No, he never abused them, but he did threaten to do that just to get what he wanted and all that kind of stuff," which I'm not sure what that means. So really, it's really, really sad. And then we'll move over. We did get Grace go back to the jailhouse at the end of the episode. And Grace basically went back to the jail to bail out Cora Lee, who was actually surprised to see Grace come back at all. Because the first time Grace visited her, Grace did say, you know what, I'll be back. But, you know, she was like, I don't know what to believe, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Then we'll move back over to Charity's old drunk ass. So Charity is still in her room, still drinking and all that kind of shit. And she gets a call from Percy. And, you know, Percy wants to know if she'll come and sing at a memorial service because he doesn't have anybody to sing. All he has is, you know, a backing track and SoundCloud or whatever he said. SoundCloud, whichever one he said. I don't forgot. But, you know, after, you know, a certain point in the episode, Charity does go to the memorial service. She sings her songs. And then once she finished singing her song and all that kind of stuff, Percy comes out and he tries to offer Charity a drink and all that kind of stuff. You know, Charity's like, I've had enough alcohol for a lifetime right now. I'm just going to sit here and, you know, sip on my water and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, she's talking about how, you know, she originally came there and planned to sing maybe 2 songs and dip out. But, you know, she's talking about how she just feels drained and all that kind of stuff. And then with the midst of all their grief and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, she asks Percy, how does he get through it and all that kind of stuff. And Percy basically says he gets through it by drinking. But Charity does not need a drink. That's the last thing that girl needs is another drink. Like, sip on your water. All right, so then we have Carissa. You know, she and Jacob are talking about in his office. And she's just talking about how strict Lady May is and all that kind of stuff. But like I said earlier, Jacob agrees with what his mom is doing completely, so he don't see anything wrong with it and all that kind of stuff. So they start to argue and all that kind of stuff, and you know, Carissa brings up his cheating and all that kind of stuff. And to me, Carissa is not over that stuff. If you can just bring that stuff up so easily, you might have let it go, but you haven't forgot it at all and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, Jacob does say, you know what? Oh, Carissa says Zora will do whatever she wants to do, which is true. Zora, she's 18 years old now. Y'all can't tell her what to do. The little grown ass helper is gonna do what she wants to do. You know, Zora basically has bricks for brains. Like how do you sit here and want to be with a dude who shakes you, punches you, and slaps the shit out of you? Like, that's stupid as hell. Like, have some self-worth, some self-esteem, some everything about yourself. Like, don't sit here and let this little skinny, bony ass nigga hit you. Like, you stupid as shit. All right, so then we have Corinne. She's going into Bishop's office and she wants Bishop to sign some papers. And Bishop reads one of the papers and it says still security. And Bishop questions her, what is still security and all that kind of stuff. And then she said, you know, it's still security. And, you know, he's like, what is it for? And she said, it's for Day with Lady May and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, so Lady May's going to do Day with Lady May here at the church. And, okay. So then Bishop goes over to Lady May's office and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, so you're going to do Day with Lady May here and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's like, you know, I'm supposed to have I forgot what his event is called. But he's like, I'm having my event here that same day as well. And then, you know, Lady May's talking about how, you know, with Maxine being the person there this year, that it should bring in a bigger crowd, and the place that she originally had wasn't going to work for her. So Bishop was like, well, if that's the case, if you think it's going to bring in more people this year because of Maxine, well, why don't you have Maxine take care of all that stuff, and I'm still doing my stuff here and all that kind of stuff. And then Bishop also brings up the fact of, you know, don't forget what we discussed. And basically what Bishop is saying is once Day with Lady May is over with, Lady May is out the door and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, Lady May is like, you know what, whatever God has for me, God has for me at this point. All right, then we got Jacob. He is with the Dirty Blonde Skank. And, you know, they're talking about their past and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, when it comes down to the Dirty Blonde Skank, her accent, it bothers the hell out of me sometimes. It's really, really country. And I know she's from Texas, but God, that accent is like nails on a chalkboard to me. And, you know, basically, you know, Jacob is still in his feelings about Carissa bringing up him cheating and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you're going to bring it up to her of all people. But okay, because even looking at him in cheap Dirty Blonde Skank, like, you can see that there's some kind of chemistry between those two. And I'm like, something is bound to happen between these two. And lo and behold, it did. She kissed him, but we don't know how far it went, because we did see later on Jacob is heading home and he's just wiping his mouth and all that kind of stuff and just looking in his car. I'm like, what did you and a cheap Dirty Blonde Skank do with each other? Like, I hope he didn't sleep with her, but I'm pretty positive he may have slept with her. All right, so then we have Bishop. He is over in his office. He's looking out the window and he's having a drink and all that kind of stuff. And then walks in wretched ass Rochelle. So, when she walks in, she's happy to be there and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, when is she gonna stop with this whole facade that she likes Bishop and all that kind of stuff? Like, I'm kind of over it at this point. Like, just be the snake that you are and, show your true colors and all that kind of stuff. But, when she walks in there, Bishop hands her a check. And, I'm like, oh, crap, Bishop, what have you done? Like, did you clear out that account between you and Lady Mae to give to this crooked ass, wretched ass woman? So, but sorry about that. Like I said, he gave her the check. Basically, Bishop says, he trusts Rochelle. I'm like, oh shit. Like, why do you trust her? And he thanks her for her expertise. I'm like, she's playing you like a fiddle. And you're going to feel stupid when you finally find out that she's really just playing you for. All right, and then we got Grace. She's talking with Darius about the case with Coralie and all that kind of stuff. And how the DA basically wants to use her against Coralie. And when I say use Grace against Coralie, he wants to use the whole thing with Mac, the whole thing that happened with Mac against her, her killing Mac. And, but Darius is like, but it was self-defense. And, Grace is flashbacking in her head again to the night that Mac was killed, when she stuck the glass in his neck. And, when Mac was telling her to call the police for help and all that kind of stuff. And, she was like, nope, you have to do something first. Tell me where Sophia is, although Sophia was never there and he never had, had anything to do with Sophia. But then when she comes back to, she was like, he said, it was self-defense, right? And she says, yes, which it was. And then we have Corinne and Maxine's assistant. They are back in Lady Mae's office and they're basically telling Lady Mae that the caterer for a day with Lady Mae needs a deposit right now. And Lady Mae is like, but this event is, 6 weeks out. Why do they need it? And they're like, because they're the only ones that can do a crowd of the size that you're expecting, and they're the best and all that kind of stuff. So Lady Mae is like, you know what? I'll transfer some money from my personal account so that we can get this done, and then the church will pay me back tomorrow. Well, the church will write her a check. So she logs into the account and she looks at the account and she's like, what the hell is going on? And, Corinne and Maxine's assistant are looking at her like, is everything okay? And she's like, I'm not sure. She's trying to save face, but she does know that Bishop has taken all the money from their joint account and given it to wretched ass Rochelle. So, we'll see what happens with that. I'm still upset with Bishop because he did that, because I just don't get how Bishop is too naive to wretched ass Rochelle, whereas Lady Mae can see right through wretched Rochelle. And then we move back over to Jacob. He is at home. He's cleaning cheap, dirty blonde skank off of him. And, he goes and talks to Carissa. Carissa is still in her feelings and all that kind of stuff. And, he asked Carissa, did she talk to his mom and all that kind of stuff? And she says, no. She said, I was really trying to figure out what I want to say to you and all that kind of stuff. So then, Jacob basically apologizes to her and, he tells her, we'll go get Zora tomorrow. And Carissa's happy with that. And then Carissa basically apologizes to Jacob for what she said to him. And I'm like, you said that stuff, but you still harbor a little hurt in you, because if you were completely over it, you wouldn't even bring it up, because I know you were mad, but you shouldn't get that mad if you are over something to bring it up again. That's just how all right. And then we got Lady Mae. She is going to talk to Bishop about, him taking the money out of the joint account and all that kind of stuff. And, Bishop is like, you know what? That account will be over. It'll be full. It'll be beyond full within 2 weeks and all that kind of stuff. And Lady Mae tells Bishop, you know what? It's time for you to go. He was like, you know what? I talked to Percy. I'm going to go stay with Percy, starting tomorrow. She's like, oh, no, not starting tomorrow. Starting tonight. She's like, I want your suits gone. I want your purple robes gone. I want everything of you out of my house. Like, you got to go. Don't, do not stop at go. Do not collect $200. Just get the hell out of my house and don't come back and all that kind of stuff. Like, get out ASAP. Don't let the dough hit you where the good Lord split you. All right, and then we got this scene that it really kind of broke my heart. because you had Sophia. She's in her bathroom. She is crying up a storm, and she's ripping from the Bible that Bishop gave to her and all that kind of stuff. And she's talking about how the Bible is a lie, and she says how she wishes that she didn't get into the church. She's thinking about when she got baptized, and how she wishes she didn't know the way of the Lord and all that kind of stuff, and how she wishes she could go back to what her life was before. And she wants God to just leave her alone. And like I said earlier in the video, I still believe in God, but I definitely 100% know where Sophia is at this point in her life, because like I said, I've lost both my mother and my grandmother, two people who would go to the end of the earth for me. They would do whatever I needed for me. If I ever asked them for anything, they would. If they said no, they would eventually come around and say, what, Jerome, here you go, leave me alone, and that would be it. And now I'm at a point in my life where if I ask people for help, sometimes I hear no a whole lot, and and there's a lot of stuff that I do need, and there's a lot of stuff that I can't take care of by myself, but I managed to get it done. And I'm at the same point so I'm not at the point where I don't believe in God. Like I said, I do still believe in God, but I just question, why would you take two people who were instrumental in my life away from me? And I don't really feel like I have anybody that I can 100% lean on, because like I said, I hear no a lot now, but I guess it's a part of being an adult. And I'm, like I said, like Sophia, I have kind of lost my faith a little bit, and I'm just trying to figure out how to regain my faith. And I'm still at the point where I just don't know how to do it, because I just can't believe where my life is right now. Like, it's crazy. So I definitely understand where Sophia's coming from. Like I said, it's just different. Like, I still know God. I still believe in God. I just question the things that have happened in my life up to this point, if that makes sense. And then the last two things of the episode, we get Bishop. He goes over to Percy's place, and then we got Jacob and Carissa. They are getting ready to go get Zora with her little brother and all that kind of stuff. And they basically want to show Zora support. I'm like, show her support in what? Her wanting to be with Isaiah? Like, that's the only thing that little girl wants, is to be with Isaiah, which is redundantly stupid. Like, what? And so, we move over to Zora. She's that lady, she's in her closet getting her stuff. I'm like, and Lady May comes up there, asking her, trying to figure out, is she trying to figure out what to wear? I'm like, no, she's not trying to figure out what to wear, Lady May. That little heifer is packing her shit to go. So, Lady May asked Zora to, be over the Little Saints while Sophia is going through whatever she's going through right now. And Zora says no. And I'm like, and Lady May is up there trying to give her all the reasons about why she should do it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Lady May, you have not figured it out that little broad is planning on moving and leaving with Isaiah. Like, you don't see that and all that kind of stuff. And then finally Zora tells her, I'm packing up, I'm leaving. I'm 18 now. I'm like, oh God. Like, just because you're 18 does not mean you're legally an adult, but you're not smart enough to be an adult at that age. Like, looking back at when I was 18, because I told my mama the same thing. I'm like, I'm grown now, and looking back at it at almost 30 years old, I'm like, at 18 I was not as grown as I thought I was. Hell, I wish I was 18 now, because a 29-year-old me is like, God, like, I wish I could just go back to being a kid. Like, I wish I could go back to when my mom used to tell me to stay in a kid's place and all that kind of stuff. Like, I do not like being an adult, but I have to be. So that was the episode. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.